feel like a lot of times insights, intuitive hits, they come like little tiny puzzle pieces, and the universe will give you another puzzle piece, another puzzle piece. And as you're kind of crafting and putting it together, then you start to see the picture. After leaving the corporate 9-to-5 grind, I became the boss of my own spiritual business, helping others explore and navigate the human experience from insight, wisdom, and lessons learned along the way. Today, I help aspiring spiritual entrepreneurs gain the confidence to share their gifts with the world. Welcome to the Happy Healing Shop podcast. I'm your host, Trang Pham Nguyen, and each week we'll dive into incredible stories of strength, resilience, and transformation. So, if you are ready for some serious breakthroughs, laughs and tears, and stories that will inspire you, you are in the right place, my friend. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about part 2 of my depressive dip and the, revelations, insights, or messages I got as I went through it and came out of it. If you want to listen to part 1, check out episode 49. So during this time, I took a lot of, I create space for myself to kind of stay in a cocoon, to feel, feel safe, but also really reevaluate my life. And the answers don't come right away, which is frustrating for a fairly impatient person like me. What came to me was, Trang, what do you love to do? And I love to travel, specifically internationally. However, that's not on the cards right now, schedule-wise. But it made me think about, what do I do when I travel? What about travel that makes me love it so much? So for me, I generally am a solo female traveler, and I explore. There's a freedom in exploring things on your own time, without worrying about who else wants to eat what cuisines or decision making. All the decision making is all on you, but only for yourself. And there's also that sense of, because you're alone, you can meet people along the way, if it's exploring something together or through your accommodation, or like hostels I stay at, doing activities. But I don't have the expectation of making a friend, if that makes sense. So for example, if I go to a hostel and we say like, hey, let's go out and check out, let's say dance class, right? And I might make a weekend friend, but then we move on and part ways. And so there's like that, not the expectation of doing an activity to have a certain outcome. So during this time, I actually took some dance classes. I've always loved dancing. I just haven't done it for a long time. And so I took some salsa class and also West Coast swing dance. And when I go to these classes, I just show up. And when I leave, I don't expect to be making friends, or being BFFs with someone afterwards, right? So the thing about dance, there's usually a lead and a follower. So usually you might see it as a guy leading a girl, but nowadays it could be either way, whatever. And usually for me, I'm a follower. When you are doing ballroom class as a follower, you have to let go, and you can't predict what the next move is going to be. Now, maybe the more newbies might do that, but if you have a strong lead who knows how to move you, you'll know exactly when to take the steps, when to spin, when to do a certain move, right? So 2 things came out of this for me. It was, 1, letting go instead of trying to force or predict moves or predict and know what's up ahead, what's next. Because when you try to do that, you might mess up the lead and it just ends up not working out well. And then it also made me think how mentally tiring it might be to be a lead, to always have to think, oh, where am I going to whip or move around my follower, my dancer, right? What is the next move I'm going to make? What is the next choreography that I'm going to do? So it is tiring being the lead in that sense, I feel like. So it made me think, oh, as a follower, it is kind of nice allowing and letting someone else take the lead and someone else taking care of it. And if I become a really good follower, it makes me a better dancer. Or a better dance partner. And with this, you can make it like a parallel to life of learning to let go instead of trying to have control of every aspect of your life, or planning ahead to feel like you're in control of your life and your circumstances. And that sometimes it is nice to allow someone to take over the thinking part so you don't have to worry about it. Just like how I allow the lead to take care of whatever moves we're about to dance next. Now, obviously, there is dance chemistry with certain people and dance partners that you have. But overall, if you learn to let go as a follower, it allows for the dance to flow a lot more. And who knows, you create a beautiful, beautiful dance, a beautiful routine. Also with dance for me is something I enjoy. I used to do more so contemporary, modern, and hip hop, but I decided to want to try ballroom because if you get the steps, the basic steps of a ballroom dance down, then the rest, in my opinion, comes easily. Now, during this time, as I was getting out of my depressive dip, I had to keep reminding myself, or kind of giving me a mantra or like a reminder of saying, when it came to decision making or like saying yes or no to things, is Trang, you can pause, you can wait. You don't always have to initiate. You don't always have to reach out to someone to be like, do you want to hang out? Like, use this time for yourself. You can get back to people later on. Or sometimes I'm used to creating a list of things for me to do, whether it's running errands and stuff. And normally I would be the type to say, hey, I gotta go and stop the middle of a conversation. And I gotta go pick up something from the store. But now I remind myself, Trang, you can still stay a little bit longer in this conversation. You don't have to go. Like, the store isn't closing right away. But I always kind of lived with a sense of urgency. And it's probably a learned pattern, especially from growing up. So during this time, this space that I had for myself, I had to really pause and say, like, Trang, let's focus on things that light you up. It really also does help that summer is coming, at least during the time I'm recording this, and the sun is out, which really affects my mood. And also with a sort of spiritual twist, in human design, I am a generator. So to make decisions that are aligned with me, generators are supposed to say yes to things that light them up or make them go, oh, okay, or like, that feels right. But a lot of times in my life, I was acting more like a manifester, where you initiate things, you go start things on your own and they kind of unfold. Whereas for me, I've done many things in the past where it just felt drudging. It felt like work. I didn't want to do it, but I just forced it. And even though things did happen, it didn't blossom. Now, if you want to know what happened in my life transition, that it feels like it happened recently, but it was actually months and months ago. But listen to episode 37, where I was asked to move out of my cousin's place. And that was one of the hardest times in my life of feeling uprooted from shelter. So back to during this depressive dip I had and getting out of it, another realization I had was, Trang, you don't always have to be an A-type person. You can be like an A- or a B+ type person. You don't have to be the first to text someone. You don't have to be the one that responds right away. And obviously I've created, it is my fault. I created that for myself. Now look, it makes me really good at my jobs and what I do. When I was an executive assistant at Disney, when I am an event planner, but it doesn't mean I have to carry it on to the non-work parts of my life. Now, when it comes to doing things that light you up, I had to really sit and think and ponder. Again, all these answers don't come right away. They don't come quite clearly. I feel like a lot of times insights, intuitive hits, they come like little tiny puzzle pieces, and the universe will give you another puzzle piece, another puzzle piece. And as you're kind of crafting and putting it together, then you start to see the picture. So one of the questions I had to ask myself, and this is probably a good question to ask yourself, is what are some things I'm still doing that make me feel like, meh, like I don't love it, but I'll go still, because maybe you feel obligated, or maybe because you're like, I haven't seen this person. I guess I'll go because I haven't seen this person in X amount of months, right? That sense of obligation, or even routine. Like, oh, I usually do this every Saturday or every 2 Saturdays. I think it's giving ourselves permission to quit something or to just stop because we outgrew it, or it's just boring to us now, or we don't get any joy from it anymore, or our relationship with it has ran its course. And that can go from doing activities, doing hobbies, to even grabbing lunches and dinners with that person. And I know I am not the only one that thinks this way, because I've met so many people that say like, oh, so-and-so wants to catch up with me, I don't feel like it, and you already know that you've outgrown certain people. And so it's more of like, why do we feel obligated to continue to engage with them? Now, sometimes there are people you still definitely want to keep in touch with, but during my depressive dip, for me, I needed space, and it was a lot of space. You know how I talk about cocooning? Most people might cocoon 1 to 2 weeks. I need like a month, maybe 2, to be able to really reevaluate, especially of what happened in my life. And I think for such a long amount of time, it feels uncomfortable and weird. That's the best way to say it. Weird to cocoon or take time to reevaluate. But I think most of us don't do this enough to reevaluate. Maybe we might do it at the end of the year for the new year, but we don't really sit down and say, okay, what's working, what's not working. You say, what is this teaching me, or what message is there for me? So for me, the problems I have sometimes is wanting to tell someone, but just trying to figure out a tactful way of saying like, hey, I really need my space, without feeling like hurting their feelings, if that makes sense, and making them think that it's them. So in case you are in a similar situation, here is kind of like a text or a template you can use when you need space for yourself, when you feel like not hanging out with people, or you feel like you need to cancel, more so maybe for your mental health, right? So here it goes. Hey, I've been in a bit of a mental space lately, trying to navigate through some personal stuff and taking the time to sort through my thoughts, emotions, and direction in life. It's been a bit of a journey, and I've realized that I need to take some time for myself away from everything to truly figure things out. And then optional, if you want to add this, is to truly figure things out and find clarity, peace, and happiness within myself again. Thanks for reaching out. I'll get back to you once I figure it out, and it may take me a while. So I hope that kind of helps to be able to explain what's going on for you, what your needs are, and be able to directly communicate it with someone that maybe is reaching out, wants to hang out, or honestly with a lot of people that don't know what you're going through. Because let's be honest, and I know there's many people that are depressed or have anxiety, but we're really good at hiding it, or we kind of start to retreat. There is a fine line between retreating and being depressed, and then retreating and trying to reevaluate life. And sometimes they both can happen at the same time, and it gets a little bit tricky. And there's a quote I really like where it was on a sticker, and it said, life is fuller when you give space and time for yourself. And if you allow your mind to wander, that's where you get the intuitive hits, the messages, but you have to have that space, or sometimes create that space in order to do so. And it might take for longer than a week. It might feel really weird because this is not a routine that we're taught, growing up. And we're never really taught that it's normal to go through these depressive dips. Once I've had people told me that they've gone through depressive dips, but they get better with dealing with it as they get older because they know it's coming, or they see the signs for it and they have tools and ways to cope with it. That's when I felt really validated in my experience of what I'm going through. And of course, if you don't create that space to reevaluate your life or to sit with those feelings and try to see what's going on, the universe or life will definitely kick your butt later on. And also, this year's theme or mantra, I guess, for 2024, I had for myself that I'm trying to keep is keep my peace. And making decisions based on that, on things that will keep my peace, will help me align with making decisions for the remainder of the year. Even when it feels uncomfortable, even when there's things where I say, but I've always done it this way, or will always usually go to this function. But it allows me to really pause and say, no, if this isn't keeping your peace, don't go to it, because you already know what's going to happen. You already know how you're going to feel, and you're going to be miserable. So I would love to hear from you if you have a mantra for the year, or like a goal or a purpose for the year, and also if you can resonate with having these depressive dips and how you navigate and manage to go through them. And if you are ready to heal and be surrounded by a community with like-minded people, I invite you to join the Happy Healing Club, which is my membership. It comes with healing events, workshops, and also guided meditations and our self-healing shadow work journal to help you heal and do the inner work. In addition, I have my Facebook group, Happy Healers, and also we have online courses that teach how to develop your intuition and also how to work with Reiki energy healing. And we also have a ton of free resources online. So make sure to check out all the links down below in the show notes, or visit thehappyhealingshop.com. And always remember to shine your light brightly and to share your story, because you never know who it can help, give hope to, or inspire to create a change in their own world. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.